In my hand, I'm holding a first edition, first printing copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the undisputed holy grail in all of Harry Potter. This year marks the 25th anniversary of when this book was very first released to the public. Harry Potter has since gone on to become the best-selling book series of all time, with this particular book on pace to shatter the record for the best-selling book of all time. The Harry Potter franchise has also spawned some of the greatest films of all time, 2 theme parks, video games, and tons of merchandise. The majority of viewers most likely remember reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone when they grew up as a kid. It's important to note that the true first edition Harry Potter is Philosopher's Stone, the version that was released exclusively in England well over a year before Sorcerer's Stone was released. Let's travel back in time to 1997 when all of this began. Raising her daughter all alone and living on food stamps, the unknown author Joanne Rowling finished writing her book in her Edinburgh apartment in Scotland. After finishing, Rowling hired Christopher Little as her literary agent, and they set off with the goal to publish the book. In what is incomprehensible today, 12 publishers rejected the manuscript when they first read it. They all thought that the title was way too long and that little kids weren't interested in the fantasy genre anymore. Finally, the children's publisher Bloomsbury agreed to publish the book. They did an initial print run of just 500 hardcover copies and then 5,150 softcover copies. That's a grand total of 5,650 copies of the near 120 million copies that have ever been printed worldwide. Today, these first print, first edition copies have been breaking records left and right. They are extremely hard to find in good condition because the materials that were used in the printing process, the paper and the glue, were not high quality because the publisher didn't know that this would become a global phenomenon that we know it today. This book was originally purchased at a London bookstore when it was first released in 1997. The book was never read and kept on a shelf over all of these years. So how do you tell if you do have a first printing, first edition of Harry Potter? First, you'll see this quote by Wendy Cooling on the bottom of the front cover. A terrific read and a stunning first novel. Next, on the copyright page, you'll see Rowling's first name, Joanne, is completely spelled out. There is also no space between Taylor and 1997. Next, and most important, is the number line. You'll see it go from 10 all the way down to 1, 1 meaning that that copy is a first printing. On page 53, under Harry's Diagon Alley supplies, you'll see that 1 wand is listed twice. On the back cover, you'll find a couple things. First, you'll see that it says Hogwarts School of Wizardry and Witchcraft. This was later flopped to say Witchcraft in Wizardry. And there's also a typo in Philosophers. If you look closely, there's no second O. I absolutely adore and love everything Harry Potter. Last year, I set a goal to read all of the books, watch all of the films, and then my wife and I went to Universal in Orlando and went to the park. I also built this really cool Lego Hogwarts castle, which was a blast to build. This book not only represents pop culture, but now is a historical item that represents the most successful book series of all time. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe below for more 90s nostalgia trips.